This is 13 Minutes. I'm Elliot Reeves. My guest today is Jack Allan. Jack, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Keeping it together.
Yeah,
Doing
definitely.
as best as I can.
Yeah. Good to hear. Good to hear.
So, for the benefit of anyone watching and
Yeah.
listening, who is Jack Allan?
I am Jack. I'm 24 from Edinburgh, and I own 9 to 5 Social, which is a student-delivered social media agency. So essentially, we pair independent, small, medium businesses with local students, and we help them manage their social media profiles and create content, video, graphic design, photography. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's me.
So,
Yeah.
how have you been affected by recent events?
Well, I think, I actually looked back at the last time we spoke and our kind of like chat and a bit of an interview. Um, and I was speaking about how kind of marketing is almost always the first thing that kind of gets cut when tough times hit.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess for some of our clients, particularly those in the hospitality sector, we've had contracts either paused or significantly reduced due to, I guess, if there's no product to sell. And if you're in a restaurant or a bar, there is nothing to sell. And also, it's worth taking into consideration as well. I don't think the news necessarily always does this. Is actually the supply chain behind the hospitality industry and all those kind of industries, event industry that are like directly impacted. That supply chain behind it. So all the drinks brands that you see on the bar,
Mm-hmm.
they're all impacted as well, and a lot of them are our clients. So we've kind of, I guess it's just a bit of a revenue hit.
Yeah.
And then, my company employs 3 people, and we'll kind of come to that in a minute. But that's obviously a bit, trying to make sure they're safe, make sure their contracts are are good, and make sure we can kind of afford to keep paying them, and
Yeah.
also more kind of basically, is there still work for them today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which at times over the last kind of couple of weeks has been a little challenging as well. So yeah, that's kind of the main impact. But of course, caveat everything in this conversation with, there's people that are way more impacted and harshly affected than ourselves. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, all in all, not too bad.
That's good, man. Yeah, it was going to be my sort of follow-up question. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
whether, because you're a student-led business, whether your staff are on zero-hour contracts or whether you had permanent people. So
Yeah. So we currently have 3 students that are part-time. So they each do 10 hours a week in our office, which obviously we're not even allowed in the office anymore.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, at the start of March, and I've kind of had to flick back through my calendar over the past few weeks to kind of refresh my memory of like the timeline of all of this. Um, we signed a really big contract on not the first of March, but towards the end of February. So we added 2 new people right at the start of March.
mm,
So we kind of went from 2, someone left, and then we added another 2. So we then went up to 3. And so they all do 10 hours a week, which when it comes to furloughing people and stuff like that,
mm,
if you arrived early March, you can't be furloughed. So we
oh
had to
right,
kind of work with them to try and keep paying them. I didn't want to let anyone go, and we've not had to, thankfully. But it's kind of about working with them, maybe reducing hours slightly, and just making sure that we can keep providing as much as we can.
mm-hmm.
We're a small business still. I don't take a massive salary myself, And we're very much in that kind of startup and scale up phase. So it's all about kind of limiting the loss and kind of keeping growth kind of going as much as we can. But yeah, I mean, we've probably had a definitely over 50% hit. But yeah, it's all about just kind of staff management and client management, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Tough times, man.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, when you start a business, you know that you're going to have to make lots of decisions every day. Um, and in amongst that, there are going to be some significant decisions that have to be made from time to time. And something like this is obviously a major global event, but it requires tough decisions to be made. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if you own a business, part of starting your own business and getting into that process is that you back yourself to make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly something that I've always kind of backed myself to take the right decision,
Yeah.
so if it's personal or business. And I guess something like this is almost like where you earn your stripes, almost, I suppose. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I hope that I've made the right choices. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, how have you been managing yourself personally throughout this period?
Personally, actually, I mean, I'm a very sociable person. My ideal of like a good night out is kind of, or a good day is, spending time with friends in a bar, just like quiet and just chatting.
Yeah.
Really, that's what I like doing. I like going out for dinner with friends, and kind of spending time with them. Like a moderately sized group of maybe like 10 to 15 people is always fun. I like kind of having a lot of chat. So that side of things is gone. On the work side of things, obviously, I started a business to try and to meet as many other companies, to meet as many founders and business owners and marketers. And that, again, also, you can't go and do that face to face. But personally, actually, I mean, I feel I've been actually, I think I'm quite good at adapting to different situations, and just, it is what it is. And for me, I mean, the whole world is in this at the same time, which I guess if you struggle with that is maybe if you struggle with kind of isolation and being on your own, I don't know, that might provide some element of comfort knowing that the whole world is there. And but personally, I mean, I'm working from home. I still live with my parents, which is kind of rough, but that's the Edinburgh property market for you, is that
Mm-hmm.
there's no point in renting if you can kind of stay and save for a house. So it's not too bad. I get on really well with my family. And yeah, it's just trying to kind of have a bit of a routine in the day, and keep going. So yeah, personally, pretty sweet. Nothing too major. Just I don't like my freedom of just kind of being able to go out, get a coffee, go and work in a cafe for a morning, or kind of go and meet whoever I want to meet and kind of drive and stuff like that. I miss that. But apart from
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
The imposition on one's liberty is something that I think a lot of
Yeah,
people suffer
it's a
with.
tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In what way do you think the world might be different as a result of the coronavirus situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something I've been like my mind has been like spinning
Mm.
around to more. Obviously, initially, I think I could break up this. I think we're on week 8 or something. And to the first 2 weeks was like panic stations. The situation literally changed every hour. The second week and kind of the second to about now has kind of been focused on, right, this is just what we have to do. Let's just live with it. And then now I guess it is starting to look forward. And as a business owner and marketer, I think that it's something definitely I think about a lot. And I mean, I think consumer wise, I think people are going to. I think it'll take a long time for people to kind of go back to normal, but I do think things will go back to normal. I think you hear a lot in the news and in media about kind of this new normal, and I do think there will be a new normal for a long time. But I think ultimately people are still going to go back to going to bars, going to pubs, going on holiday. Like these things are going to come back, but I do accept that it's going to be a long time. And I think certainly that's something that we don't really know what the shape of it's going to be either.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly think that specifically in the last week or two, I think the fear of the virus itself seems to have ramped up a little bit. And I think that initially we were very kind of made aware that the majority of people will only experience a are kind of mild symptoms, but that seems to have disappeared slightly. And I think that there is a lot of people that maybe are quite fearful of getting back out. And actually, if you go on holiday, for example, for 2 weeks, come back, do you want to go into the office the next day? Not really. Like it takes a little bit to kind of get back in that groove and that way of routine. And I think the world is going to experience that on a mass scale, and everyone's going to kind of have to readjust to kind of how things were, going back into work, socializing normally again. So I think there will be wee things like that. But I think it will just take time, and people will get back to the normality. One of the good things, I think, especially in Edinburgh, has been that really this situation, if you're a small business that's nimble and agile and is entrepreneurial and enterprising, this has actually maybe been a good thing. I think the world was in a place where small businesses were kind of all the rage, but maybe it was more talk than necessity. And ultimately, people would still do their big shop at Tesco and Asda and Sainsbury's, and ultimately they would still kind of just spend the evening at a cinema rather than kind of going and using a small business's service or whatever. But I think around Edinburgh, we've seen loads of new companies kind of starting up, loads of new services, as well as businesses pivoting to new things. And I think that's actually been really an exciting thing in the kind of business community. And I'm sure it's replicated all across the UK, is that it's kind of led people to kind of reconnect with the small businesses that are offering something really unique that maybe the bigger places can't offer at the moment. So that's been exciting, and I think I don't know how long that will continue for, and my hope is that does continue as we kind of ease back into normality. But it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
If you could pick one thing that could change about the world, post the pandemic, what would you like it to be?
I think if I could choose one thing, I think everyone should kind of use this time to not take everything for granted. And I think that's been the benefit for me. I certainly felt like at the start of this year, I was very much like, I'd done 2 years of starting a business from nothing, getting all the clients on board. And, when we won one new client, it wasn't even like exciting anymore, if you know what I mean. And it kind of felt like just the same. And then this obviously came and changed everything. So I think that kind of a wake-up call is quite good for everyone. And the things that we're not able to do now, I think that's what I hope is that people kind of appreciate them. That's that wee bit more. And that might sound kind of fluffy, but I do think that is important. And I do think I miss going to the football with my dad. I miss, going for a drink with friends. And, if you do that, twice a month, 3 times a month, then that does lose a wee bit of its excitement and a wee bit of its shine. But I think with this, I hope that will be the thing that kind of people get really excited about going and doing the things that we did so regularly before this. Now we're back able to do these things, and you can almost experience it fresh again. So I hope that's the thing that changes, is that kind of the more everyday and mundane things kind of become more interesting and exciting.
Yeah. We're running out of time rapidly here, Jack. So I'll just ask you, what if you, in one sentence, if you could give advice to somebody that was having a difficult time with this, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say that the whole world is in it at the same time, and don't think about it as you have to do anything. Use it how you want to use it. If you want to go and be enterprising and kind of create something new or reflect on your life, do. If you don't, and you just want to hunker down and get through it, do it. It's fine. The whole world's going through the same thing. No one really knows what to do. There isn't an answer to really anything. So kind of use it in the way that you want to use it.
Good stuff. Where can people find you?
You can find the business on Instagram, Facebook, and online on social media at 9to5social UK, and on the website it's just 9to5social.co.uk. And then you can find me, if you really want to, on Instagram at Jack L. Allan.
Perfect. Jack, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, my
friend.
friend.
Pleasure.
Look after yourself.
Thank You too. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Cheers.
Cheers.